the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3 in a shootout in Tampa on New Year's Eve. So the Rangers close out the year in a really good way, winning a game against a Tampa Bay team that the night before had given up 9 goals to the Florida Panthers. So this is a Lightning team that I knew would be hungry. They did get some players back from COVID protocol. Still some players out, notably Vasilevsky, Anthony Cirelli. They didn't have Eric Chernak, who I'm not sure if that was COVID protocol or injury related, but they did have some players out on defense. They did get Mikhail Sergachev back, among some others. So Brian Elliott, he returned as well. The backup goalie would be the starter, but he was definitely a reason for the Ranger victory. But still, a still very loaded Tampa Bay team. And against, like I said, a very hungry Lightning team. And the Rangers were able to get the win. And it did not look good in the first period at all. The Rangers were outshot 10-3. But the story and the hero of this game is former Tampa Bay Lightning two-time Cup winner, as he was acquired at the trade deadline a couple of years ago by Tampa from the Sharks, Barclay Goodrow. Goodrow, who received his Stanley Cup ring before the game, was given a nice ovation from the Tampa crowd. Goodrow was really the story in this one. And the hero. He scores 2 very big goals. He was the first star of the game. And Goodrow, he would eventually, it didn't start this way, but he would eventually play with Panarin and Strome. And that was something that I had stated, in recent episodes, maybe not specifically Goodrow, but the fact that Dryden Hunt should be taken off that line. And he was. Hunt was taken off. He took a penalty early. And then I think after that, Hunt was off that line. And basically it was a 1-for-1 swap where Hunt moved down to play with McKegg and Reeves. But another change was, and I had suggested this, and I think it worked. Patrick Nemeth played with Fox and Hayek played with Lundqvist. And what that meant was a lot of minutes for those top 2 pairs. Not a whole lot of ice time for Hayek and Lundqvist, and deservedly so. And you know what? In limited ice time, they did all right. But really, Miller Trouba pair and Nemeth Fox really did a pretty nice, sound job against the Lightning. And Igor was in net in this one, and I'd say that this game was an improvement for him. Still doesn't look quite as sharp as he did, but a pretty good outing and an improvement from the Panther game. This is a big win, especially because I think it's going to be tough against the Lightning at the Garden in a couple of days. I think that's going to be a challenging game. I'm not expecting to win that one against what I would assume to be a more normal Lightning lineup. But in this one, the Rangers overcame a really bad start. They only had 3 shots in the period. And the Rangers had 4 power plays. They were 0-for-4 on the power play in this one, not without its chances. I'd say collectively they had good opportunities. It wasn't like, they looked poor. I can't say for sure on all 4 power plays, but most of them looked pretty good. But they didn't score on this one. And then Dryden Hunt takes a hooking penalty, which you just can't do. When he's not producing and the player that he is, he can't be taking penalties like that. The Rangers would kill that off. Then later in the period, and mind you, the Rangers, it doesn't feel good. It's not a very sharp-looking period for the Rangers. And it would be a penalty by Ryan Reeves, a roughing penalty. I didn't love the call where Corey Perry kind of embellished it, for being honest. But they called the penalty on Reeves, and what do you know? The Rangers lose the faceoff. I believe it was Zibanejad. The Rangers lose the faceoff, and very quickly, Steven Stamkos, just great one-timer goal. Stamkos' 16th goal of the season. He's really been looking very strong this year. And the Lightning take a 1-0 lead. And the Lightning almost scored again, but Shesterkin made a save. It was getting a little ugly at the end of the first. So the Lightning are 1-0 after 1. We go to the second. And Zibanejad takes a high sticking penalty 12 seconds into the period. So, again, undisciplined play for the Rangers right there. And so they do kill off that Zibanejad penalty. And then Brian Elliott gifts the Rangers really not 1, but 2 goals. We'll talk about the first one. And that would be Alexis Lafreniere. Honestly, Elliott just gives it to Lafreniere. Give Julien Gauthier credit. He pressured Elliott a little bit. and that led to the pass right to Lafreniere, empty net, and he just puts it in. So it's the 7th goal for Lafreniere, which I think comes to a surprise to people, just because he doesn't get that much ice time, he doesn't get that much power play time, and the assists are low. But 7 goals, that's not terrible. Is it out of the realm of possibility that Alexis Lafreniere could approach 20 goals this year? I have my doubts, but it's not out of, again, it is very possible if given more ice time and improvement by him. So that makes it 1-1. Then Alex Killorn takes a holding penalty. Again, like I said, power play unsuccessful tonight. They don't score. And on that power play, it stops because Capo Caco's called for an interference penalty, and I didn't like that call either. Didn't agree with that one, but they call it. But what comes of it is before the Caco penalty is up, Elliott makes another bad play. This one, Greg McKegg makes a nice little play to get to the puck. This wasn't as direct as the Lafreniere one, but McKegg gets to it and puts the puck in the middle of the ice for Barclay Goodrow. And Goodrow makes a nice move, backhand 5-hole past Elliott. And the Rangers take a 2-1 lead right there. So Goodrow against his former team, 2-1 lead. And there you go. But before the period's out, what was a good shift by the fourth line, which was McKegg, Hunt, Reeves, they lose possession, and then going down the ice, it's a one-timer goal, which is interesting. The Stamkos goal, come to think of it, the Stamkos goal is a one-timer, and Ross Colton scores to tie it up. And that was not a great goal by Shesterkin. I think he'd like to have that one back. He had a clear line of sight to see the shot from Colton, and it goes by him. I won't kill him for the Stamkos one. I think that was just a really good shot. The Colton one, not as much. And so it's 2-2 going to the third. And this game, I guess, in some ways had feels of the Panther game, but a little different. And in the third, you would have coincidental minors to Dryden Hunt and Boris Kachuk that results in 4-on-4 play. Nothing comes of that. And then the Rangers take the lead, and it was a shot by Keandre Miller and deflected in by Barclay Goodrow. At one point, they gave the goal to Strome. They kind of switched it all over the place, but the goal does go to Barclay Goodrow, his second goal of the game against his former team, nonetheless. And you could tell it meant a lot to him. I think he was definitely emotional when they gave him the video tribute. This is where he turned his career around. He was a nice player on the San Jose Sharks, but Tampa Bay is really where Barclay Goodrow made a name for himself and what led him to getting the contract he did from the Rangers. But you can see why. I mean, Barclay Goodrow he's not the most skilled, but he is a very clutch player. He just really is. And that's an uncanny ability. But Goodrow gives the Rangers a 3-2 lead with that deflection. A nice shot by Keandre Miller. I like what I've seen from Keandre Miller. He is the type of player that does turn the puck over, and a lot of the times makes up for that. But either way, I like the way he's been playing. And Panarin gets an assist there as well. So the Rangers take a 3-2 lead. But in Ranger fashion, and give Tampa credit too, but the Rangers don't hold that lead. And what was a controversial play, and I'm curious to hear what Gerard Gallant says after the game. As I'm recording this, Gallant hasn't done his post-game presser yet, but he was pretty fired up. So there was a play stoppage when Goodrow took out Shesterkin. Shesterkin was fine, and the net came off. The Rangers had possession. So I think what the rule is there is whoever was on the ice when that occurred, those players need to stay on the ice. And they did get that right. I mean, Gallant was furious. And I think it was more of a rules issue, not so much like hey, that guy was on. Like, unless somehow the rule was interpreted incorrectly. I'm not sure why Gallant was as frustrated as he was. It was unfortunate because it did lead to Tampa Bay directly scoring. He wanted to get Zibanejad and Kreider out there. Instead, Strome and Panarin were out there with Goodrow. Goodrow loses the faceoff, and eventually it's a Corey Perry goal in front with about 2 minutes left in the game to tie it up. Corey Perry, the other night against Montreal, he, in that game, had a late game time goal as well. And so Tampa finds a way to tie it up. And the Rangers do need to clean that up. Where you don't give up those late goals, but at least, again, this, unlike the Florida game, at least they were able to get it to overtime. So at that point, they would at least get a point. And even better than that, the Rangers would draw a power play as Miguel Sergachev takes a delay of game penalty. Good pressure by Goodrow to force that, Rangers had chances in the regulation and in overtime, weren't able to score. It transitions to 3-on-3. Not a whole lot of chances for either team, a pretty conservative mindset. So we go to the shootout. And the players that would shoot would be the ones that you'd expect. And Tampa went first. And again, I like going last licks. It doesn't always work out, but in the games the Rangers have won this year, the Devil game and this Tampa Bay game, they did go second. Now, they also did against Vegas as well and lost. So, pick your poison, but I prefer it. And no one scored until the very last shooter. So Victor Hedman saved by Shesterkin, Capo Caco. I think Elliott might have gotten a piece of it. Stamkos shoots it wide. Panarin stopped by Elliott. Then Braden Point, nice save by Shesterkin. And then Mika Zibanejad, who's in his career been very good in the shootout, gets a really big goal there. And Zibanejad, while there's frustrating moments, the penalty in this one, some lost face-offs here and there, although he was good in the face-off circle on this one. It's a big goal for Mika. Big goal, gives the Rangers the win 4-3. And now they head back home to face the same Tampa Bay Lightning. And that'll be a test. If the Rangers can win that one, that'll be awfully impressive. But this was a big win because, this is, like I said, a strong division, a strong conference. You don't want to let things sort of spiral. And they've done a good job here of they lost some games, but for example, in their last 10, they're 5-4-1, right? So you'll take that, and the Rangers' record improves to 28-4. So we'll see. Maybe Ryan Lindgren returns. Georgiev, you'd think might return soon, but again, that's not as big a deal as long as Shesterkin is healthy. Kevin Rooney's also on the COVID list, but most teams are dealing with the COVID protocol as well. So, you're going to take the good with the bad. But I think that if you're a Ranger fan, you got to be happy. Good way to end off the 2021 year, and we'll see what 2022 has in store as the Rangers head home, winners, beating the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs and the hero of the night, former Tampa Bay Lightning, Barclay Goodrow.